Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier, Aidy Bryant Shrill, a TV series I recently enjoyed on Hulu. So what did I think? I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it. 3 seasons. Each episode's about 30 minutes long. When I say season, I think the first season was, I think it's 6, 8, and 8. I believe something like that, for a total of 22 episodes, maybe a big give or take, but totally digestible. I got through this in about 2 or 3 weeks, watching sometimes 2 or 3 episodes at a time. Sometimes I'd skip a few days, whatever, but I enjoyed it. Aidy Bryant, who you probably have seen on Saturday Night Live. How do I say this politely? I mean, I guess part of the series, part of the fun of this show is that her character is a bit chunky, a bit overweight. That is a running premise on the show. It's not just my observation, but it's something that her character deals with and talks about, what it's like to be a young, overweight woman in a judgmental America. Now, I will say this, her character and the whole show takes place in Portland, Oregon. I've never been to Portland, Oregon, or Oregon, but I from what I would think, being an artsy town, I hate that term artsy-fartsy. I always hate that fucking term. But being from an artsy town, you'd think people would be a little more open-minded, accepting. But, to make good television, not so much. Her character experiences this discrimination. And, people giving her advice, including her mother, including doctors, about losing weight and getting healthy and not being diabetic or whatever the fuck. So she deals with it, and so on and so forth. So, like a lot of these TV series, I'm noticing some of these characters, whether it's Aidy and Shrill or the guy in Crashing, which is a fun series, they all make themselves sex symbols, don't they? Like, that seems like to be the thing. Give yourself a TV series so you can fuck, at least on camera, at least in the fictional world. Suddenly you're this libido person who gets to fuck whenever you want, as long as you have your own TV series. But in any event, I found these characters very relatable. You might be wondering, well, there's another show from Portlandia. Have you seen that? Portlandia also takes place in Portland, but it's more of a parody, more of a mockery of Portland. What I liked about Shrill is that it's not just a bunch of Portland jokes, like not just a bunch of hipster jokes or aging hipster jokes or quirky people jokes. There's an actual story here. She works at a artsy newspaper. I used to live in Providence, Rhode Island. There was something called the Providence Phoenix there for decades. There used to be, I don't know if it's still around, the Boston Phoenix. Like these local art papers that maybe their time has come and gone. But for a while, every town of note would have like some arts paper that was like, usually free, but they could get their money through advertising and people would sing a song about it. And, Aidy, or her character Annie, works for this local fucking arts paper, and she's got the gay boss, and I mentioned that because it's a pivotal part of his character, it seems. And he's kind of a guy who's wishing it was 1988, and he was on tour with, Black Flag and fucking the Sex Pistols or whoever the fuck else. But, so she makes a name for herself because she's working in this newspaper. And Annie decides one day she's had enough, and she breaks like protocol, and she writes an article onto the newspaper's website, something like, yes, I'm fat, or here I am, I'm fat, fuck you, or something like that. And it gets all this attention and all this praise and all these clicks and all this horse shit. And then she's like the belle de jour for a week, although her boss is kind of pissy because she broke protocol. And then she gets this kind of, like, she's got this, guy that fucks her. He's not quite a boyfriend, but he's a guy that fucks her. And she's trying to, like, train this guy how to be a proper boyfriend, although he's banging other chicks. And he's a bit of a modern-day fuck himself. I mean, he's like your typical modern guy who's just floating around. So she's trying to whip him into shape. Then they break up, and she finds somebody else, and then they get back together, and blah, blah, blah. Then she's got a lesbianic housemate They do have some flashbacks to their college days when they became friends. But kind of the point is you have this one, straight lady and then her lesbian friend, and they're kind of like soulmates in friendship, but they both have sexual urges that go in opposite ways. One likes men and one likes women. So it's kind of a nice, and one's black and one's white for what it's worth, just saying. So it's like you learn all these lessons, like you can be a lesbian and have a straight friend, you can be a black woman and have a white friend, you can be a white woman and have a black friend. All these tangibles are explored. It's very exciting. I like the show. I mean, what the fuck? I sat there and watched it. If I didn't sit there and watch it, I wouldn't have liked it. I think what I liked about it most is that although it's a TV show, I think they did a wonderful job of creating characters that seem very real. They're not too smart. They're not too dumb. These characters don't have the whole world by its tail, nor are they suffering under the unbearable weightness of being either, okay? They're kind of just trying to make their way in the world today. It takes everything they've got, so forth and so on. So I enjoyed it, okay? Aidy, she's very good, and everyone else. So I'm trying to think if there's anything insightful. If you happen to, I found, to be honest, I found a character quite intriguing. Was her, I can't remember all the goddamn names, but her roommate's lesbianic partner towards the end of the series. Like her lesbian partner kind of hooks up with this chick that's been floating around for a while, and they become like hot and heavy, and they're going to get a house together or move in together. And then the roommate gets kind of like cold feet and sours on her girlfriend. And I thought that was unfortunate. That character I thought would have been kind of good on the L Word to partner. Like, you ever watch the L Word? Like, kind of like the weird thing about the L Word show is that like all the lesbians are really hot on that show. Not that that's weird, but it's kind of like, who are they making this show for? Because it's like kind of nice. But the one on the L Word that was like kind of had like the kind of long short hair that kind of looked like she just got out of the sewer, but was kind of hot and kind of angry all the time, and kind of like always kind of like the tough one, the scary one on the L Word. Like, she would be a good counterpart for the lesbian on Shrill, the one that came from money and so on and so forth, if you're following all this madness. So basically, I liked the Shrill. I liked the show. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Apparently, it's not going to be made any further. It's done. It's fin. I won't give away any more spoilers. If you are looking like, oh, gee whiz, Mike, what should I watch on television? Or on Hulu, at least, I'm recommending Shrill. That's your buddy, Mike Messier. If you're new here, it's One Mike Messier YouTube channel. I have all these wonderful things. If you're saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, what makes you a fucking expert on everything in the world? One Man in the Camera Films has my films, even my lesbianic movies, The Nature of the Flame, and Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. Blood Sugar Sedace, my feature film. The Impeccable, my short film. Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary. Takes you behind the scenes into the world of filmmaking on a very low budget level. What else? Messier Peace Theater is a wonderful show. And that's about it. So I'll leave you there. I'll leave you be. And yeah, Shrill was good for you and me.